All right. Welcome to Coffee with Marcus and Mark. Marcus will be back here next week. He's currently in Europe on vacation, taking advantage of the holiday week. This is the #1 stock market show on Spotify and one of the most popular market updates on YouTube. In this show, we talk about what's happening in the markets and how we're trading them. Today is Wednesday, November 27th, and here's a look at the markets. Stocks retreat. The S&P pulls back from record highs. The Dow, however, making a new record and tries to make it 6 winning days in a row. NVDA is on the move. The Fed's favorite inflation gauge is out. Yields dropping because of it. Dell, Urban Outfitters, and Crowdstrike see big earnings swings. We'll take a look at those. And as you could see, there's a lot to talk about. So let's go ahead and get started. If this is your first time here, my name is Mark Hodge. I'm head coach at Rockwell Trading, and let's go ahead and jump to the charts here. I have the S&P 500 up, and we see yesterday the S&P finishing higher by 0.6%, making new record highs with a new record close there. Today, though, pulling back a little bit, down 0.4% right now. The Dow trying to cling on to some gains, making a new record, popping above 45,000 today, but retreating from those levels right now, up just 14 points, just a tiny bit above yesterday's close. So we'll see if the Dow can hang on to these gains. If it does, it would make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive winning days in a row to really wrap up November with some strength there. NASDAQ pulling back right now. The bigger loser of the bunch, down 1%. We could take a look at the Russell 2000. I'm going to pull up IWM, the Russell 2000 ETF, because small caps have been on the move as well. Today, slightly positive, just like the Dow. So the Dow and small caps kind of taking the lead. But as far as the losses go, NASDAQ leading the move lower and outpacing the S&P's pullback. So looks like we're trading at session lows right now, and the Dow just trying to hang on to those gains. The VIX rising a little bit today as we approach the holiday and trading that's going to be limited for the rest of the week. We'll take a look at the calendar there. Crude oil just flat for the session after a decent pullback from Monday that's taken place. Just flat right now, trading around $69 a barrel. Let's take a look at yields right now. Yields down. We see the 10-year yield down 1.2%. So 2-year yield, 5-year yield, all yields are down. Now, there was some news that took place yesterday and today, and let's go ahead and pop over to PowerX Optimizer, look at the calendar here, and look at the economic calendar. And this kind of started yesterday. We had the Fed minutes release, and Fed minutes, actually, let me make sure we're on the right week. There we go. This looks a little bit better. I had the right idea just on the wrong week, and now we see Fed minutes 2 p.m. yesterday, and in a nutshell, the Fed said, hey, we expect that there will be more cuts, but they will happen gradually being the key word there. So not really a big surprise, but then this morning we also had some data. Preliminary GDP coming in line with expectations. We had unemployment claims coming in slightly below, and there was this core PCE price index reading as well. So a lot in line with expectations, but to take a closer look here, we had core PCE actually rising. So it was up 0.2% in October. This puts it at 2.3% annualized. Excluding food and energy, it was up 0.3%. Prices up 0.3% in October. This at 2.8% higher compared to a year ago. And this is where we can jump over and actually take a look at the Fed funds futures to see what this has done to probabilities for the next meeting, which is in 21 days, 2 hours, 54 minutes here. And we see right now with the current target range 450 to 475, there's a 70% chance of a cut. So this was flip-flopping over the last weeks and almost 50-50 for a brief period there. I always believe that the Fed would be setting up for a cut in December unless there's this crazy data that comes out, and that just hasn't been the case. So now probability shifting back over towards a cut taking place at the December meeting, with traders basically saying 70% chance we'll cut, 30% chance we will stay the same. And right now, the cut seems to be the go-to for investors. Now we could take a look and see what's on the move here, and I'm going to bring up the heat map, and we see a big red box here in tech. So no real surprise there. When we looked at the NASDAQ, we saw tech was the weaker of the major indices, the weakest of the major indices. NVDA leading the way lower, down 3.1%, maybe some profit taking ahead of the holiday and the weekend, and also the end of the month, because the last trading day of November is going to be a short session on Friday. We know that this week is usually slow, so maybe a little profit taking going into December, but we see semiconductors really taking a hit here today. AVGO down 3.7%, AMD down 2.8%, Qualcomm down 1%, MU down 4.3%, Intel down 3.1%. So a lot of red here. The rest of the S&P 500, actually, right now I'm looking at symbols with weekly options. We could look at the full basket here of S&P 500 stocks, and we see that there's a decent amount of green elsewhere outside of tech and maybe consumer cyclical. Tesla down, Amazon down, Apple down a little bit, Google pretty much flat, Meta down, NVIDIA down, Microsoft down, but then financial services slightly higher, healthcare slightly higher, real estate, energy higher, utilities, basic materials higher. So a lot of green, and that's why we see small caps. This isn't small caps, but small caps and the Dow doing okay. S&P hanging in there, although the Magnificent Seven putting some weight on the overall average there. But tech having a rough day right now. Actually, let's go back to PowerX Optimizer, look at the calendar here. And when we look at the calendar, we see bank holiday on Thursday. Unless you're living under a rock in the U.S., which is okay. I mean, The Rock's a nice guy. But and if you have the apartment below him, what's he doing living in an apartment? And anyway, dad jokes too early right now. So if you're living under a rock, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Be thankful. And in the U.S., that means markets are closed. On Friday, we have a short trading session. Markets close at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So Friday, November 29th, is going to be the last trading day of the month. And on Monday, we're in December. And that's just crazy. I saw this, and I think it kind of sums it up. October went by pretty quickly, but November is doing 75 miles per hour in a 35 mile per hour zone. It's kind of how November feels right now. Nonetheless, markets are trading today. There is a little movement here, and typically the week of Thanksgiving, things can be a little bit slow with lower volatility, but we're seeing a little movement. Now, let's take a look at some individual names. Let's pull up Dell, because we did have some earnings reports. Dell having a rough day, down 12%. Now, Dell reported better than expected earnings, but worse than expected revenue. Dell also sees weaker Q4 for revenue and earnings, coming in a little lower than analysts expected. So investors not liking that. So Dell pulling back the levels that we saw at the end of October, down 12.5% right now. A few others on the move because of earnings. We could take a look at Urban Outfitters. URBN is the ticker symbol. And the exact opposite, up 17%. Huge jump for Urban Outfitters, getting back to levels that we haven't seen since the end of July. 17%, a real nice move there. Urban Outfitters had an earnings beat and a revenue beat, so beat on top and bottom numbers, and just all around a decent earnings report, and investors loving it, opening higher and continuing to rally during the trading session. We could also take a look at CrowdStrike. CRWD is the ticker symbol. Not as bad as Dell, but having a rough one after earnings, down 4.5%, pulling back a little bit. Now, Crowd did beat on earnings and revenue, but their guidance came in slightly lower than analysts had hoped for the fourth quarter. They do say that they expect a pretty solid second half of 2025, but the future guidance going out that far doesn't seem to be doing the trick. Investors not impressed with the slightly lower than expected or forecasted numbers for Q4 here, and down about 5% right now. So some movement here because of earnings. And with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the strategies that we like to trade. And I'm going to jump back to PowerX Optimizer and look at the WTF analyzer. We see here no new signals, no exits, no open positions. So based on our filters and the stocks that we like to trade with this strategy, no new opportunities right now, which typically is going to be the case if markets are moving higher and you're not getting a big pullback in the market. So here we're trying to win the fear when others are fearful, and there's this nice opportunity to step in and be a buyer. Not the case right now. No signals on the WTF strategy. Now, we know that there are some wheel trades that we've been in, and we've talked about these, and we could take a look at them. I am in BP. BP up today and trying to get back up to 30 and beyond here. So I'll take the 1% gain in BP. Looking for this to make a bigger move, though, so I could sell calls. Right now, I cannot. CSIQ, nice to see some follow through today after yesterday's losses. Now, it's been a nice couple of days for CSIQ, so I have to give CSIQ some credit, especially where credit's due. Up 5% on Friday and then almost 10% on Monday. Pulling back yesterday down about 5%, so giving up about half of the gains that were seen on Monday, but today bouncing back 4.2% higher. And that's what I like to see, especially as we approach earnings. So earnings coming out next week, Thursday. We'll see if that can move CSIQ in the right direction. So hoping for some decent earnings there, or at least some positive outlook that investors can get behind. Let's take a look at Halliburton here. This is a position that both Marcus and I are in, and although we finished lower yesterday, down 0.6%, higher today. Now, looks like we might see some short-term resistance around 32.50, but this is marching its way up along this trend line here, just like I'd like to see, and not too far away from my cost basis, or actually my break even, because I have been able to lower my my cost basis, or break even, that is, by the premium that I have collected. And well, I'll take it. This one headed in the right direction. Now, there is a dividend coming out next week, so I'm pretty sure I'll be the shareholder on record on Wednesday, December 4th, and I'll be entitled to a 17-cent dividend. I'll take it. That works for me. And looking forward to this one continuing to move back towards my cost basis so I could sell calls. Coals all over the place. It looked like we were getting a little bit of a bounce here today. We got as high as 1581. Yesterday, earnings disappointment. This is not a position I am in. Marcus is in this, and he decided to sell some 15 puts. So I don't know if that was just meant for our mastermind members right now, We always share exactly what we're doing, when we're doing it, and why. But I did get a message from him while he was in Zurich. I'll send a picture all bundled up there. It's a little cold, but beautiful. And he said, yeah, I sold some 15 puts here. I think this is an overreaction in coal. So I'm getting some nice premium at the 15 strike. And if I could lower my cost basis, this is a win. So that's what Marcus is doing. Merck, another position I am not in, but it does look like it's holding up above 100, and today marching higher. So nice week for Merck, actually. Last week was a good one. This week right now up almost 4%. So Merck seems to be headed back in the right direction. UPS is a trade that both Marcus and I are in. We got off to a great start this week, but yesterday we did lose a little traction. However, looks like we're finding some what was resistance. We have this nice zone here, and what was resistance can act as support. Looks like we filled that gap, and we're holding up at these levels. So I'm liking this move. It looks like 135, that upper level, is attractive to traders, at least short term. Right now we're at 136.35, up 1%. Let's just continue to march higher. That is the plan for me. All right. Well, with this being a holiday week, no coffee with Mark tomorrow. We do not do a video on short holiday sessions. Enjoy the week. If we take a look at what's ahead, we see that the first week of December. Let's move on. Actually, that's not what I want to do. It's here. I'm already where I want to be. Some decent activity on the economic calendar. We have ISM manufacturing on Monday, JOLTS jobs on Tuesday, Wednesday, ADP non-farm numbers, ISM services PMI, unemployment claims, those weekly numbers on Thursday, of course, and then Friday we have the big jobs report coming. So next week, all about jobs, and kicking off the month of December with a new trading month. Now, I need to apologize for my poor dad joke performance this week. It was not a highlight of my dad joking, and I guess just without Marcus, that extra drive and push to come out with the better dad joke, it just fell flat. On Monday, I actually flipped up the joke there and said it incorrectly, so that was a bust. And then yesterday, just got going, wrapped up the video, and I forgot to tell a dad joke. So I did put a joke twice in the comments there. I appreciate those of you who watched to the end just to either sigh and say that was stupid with that dad joke, or for those of you who get a kick out of it and actually love it. Well, today I think that I got a little help here from a fellow Sacramento trader that shared this one with me, and I think that it's more than appropriate for the week at hand, especially for those of us in the United States celebrating Thanksgiving tomorrow. Why'd the cranberry blush? It saw the turkey dressing. Okay. Horrible dad joke. Perfect for Thanksgiving. Maybe you got a kick out of it. I guarantee some of you are going to tell it tomorrow, and I guarantee that you're probably going to get some, oh my gosh, which is the perfect response to a dad joke. So with that said, I hope you had a great week. I hope you continue to have a great week and enjoy the holidays. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. And if you know someone who could benefit from these videos and updates, please share our channel. We'll be back here on Monday. Looking forward to more great trading. And until Monday next week, happy trading, everybody.